Right now, not next month, not someday. Right now, someone with real power is thinking about you. And I don't mean someone who has a little influence or a decent job title. I mean someone whose decisions move rooms, someone who controls access, resources, opportunities, outcomes, someone whose single word can open doors that most people don't even know exist. And this person has been watching you quietly, carefully, the way powerful people watch without announcing it, without tipping their hand, without giving you any indication that you've been under evaluation. And somewhere in the last few weeks, something you did, something you probably don't even remember doing, moved your name from the middle of a very long list to the very top, and you have absolutely no idea. Okay, so I literally had to stop what I was doing to record this because the energy on this one is not playing around. I'm Stella Love Tarot with Stella. Subscribe if you're new because we stay busy around here. Real quick, only take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know how we do. Now let me get into this because, oh my gosh, I have been waiting to tell somebody this all day. Let me tell you why this person noticed you. Because it wasn't what you think. It wasn't your resume. It wasn't your credentials. It wasn't some grand performance where you showed up and dazzled everyone in the room. What caught their attention was a moment where you were completely unaware that anyone important was watching. A moment where you handled something, a problem, a conflict, a question, a decision with an effortlessness that stopped them mid-thought. Not effortless because it was easy. Effortless because you've done hard things so many times that difficulty no longer registers on your face. You solved it. You moved through it. You didn't announce it. You didn't seek credit. You didn't even change your breathing. And this person, someone who has spent their entire career evaluating talent, reading people, separating the performers from the genuine articles, looked at you in that moment and thought, that one is different. And here's what you need to understand about how powerful people think. They don't promote flash. Flash is everywhere. Every room is full of people trying to be noticed, trying to impress, curating their moments for maximum visibility. Powerful people are immune to that. They've seen 10,000 versions of it. What they look for, what stops them, is the person who isn't trying, the person who handles excellence the same way they handle the mundane, the person whose quality is so consistent that it's clearly not a performance, it's a frequency, a baseline. That's you. Your baseline is what other people's highlight reel looks like. And you don't even know it because you've been operating at that level so long, you think it's normal. It's not normal. It's extraordinary. And someone with the power to change your life just recognized it. Let me go deeper into who you are because this matters. You are the person who arrives early and stays late, not for credit, but because unfinished work genuinely bothers you. You are the person who catches the mistake nobody else sees and fixes it without announcing the save. You are the person who trains the new hire with patience, even when your own plate is overflowing because you remember what it felt like to be new and lost and nobody caring enough to walk you through it. You build things systematically, methodically, without fanfare. And the things you build work. They hold weight. Other people build flashy structures that look impressive for a quarter and then collapse under stress. You build infrastructure that survives earthquakes. And because infrastructure is invisible by design, nobody claps. Nobody notices the plumbing until it fails. And yours never fails. That invisibility has been both your superpower and your wound. It protected you from the politics, the jealousy, the target that visibility paints on your back. But it also meant that people who did half your work with twice the volume got opportunities you deserved. You watched it happen multiple times. You watched someone take credit, take the stage, take the position, and you said nothing because part of you believed that maybe the loud ones deserved it more. Maybe visibility is a skill and your lack of it was a deficit. Maybe you were the problem. You were never the problem. And someone very powerful just confirmed that by choosing you over every loud, visible, self-promoting option available to them I keep getting the number 10 around this situation. 10 is completion and new cycles, the end of one chapter and the immediate beginning of another. It means something you've been working toward, maybe consciously, maybe without realizing it has reached a tipping point. The preparation phase is over. What comes next is visibility. Not because you sought it, but because what you built in the dark has become too significant to stay hidden. The number 10 also carries authority. It means you are stepping into a position of influence, whether you feel ready for it or not. And the person at the top of this reading, they see what you're stepping into before you do. That's why your name moved. I'm picking up the initials H or F connected to this powerful person, and for some of you it could be a W or a D. If those initials mean something, drop them in the comments right now because this confirmation is hitting hard. Now, let me describe this person because I'm getting very specific impressions. This is not someone who inherited their position. They built it brick by brick, sacrifice by sacrifice, through years of doing exactly what you do, showing up, delivering, being underestimated, and outperforming the expectation every single time until the world had no choice but to move out of their way. That's why they recognize you. You remind them of an earlier version of themselves before the title, before the access, before anyone knew their name. They look at you and they see the raw material that they know from personal experience become something formidable, and they've decided to invest. Um, I'm getting strong Capricorn and Leo energy around this person, the strategist and the sovereign, someone who moves with deliberate authority. Nothing about them is accidental. Their words are chosen. Their timing is calculated. Their silence is as intentional as their speech. For some of you, this person carries Virgo energy, analytical, precise, someone who notices details that everyone else misses. They noticed a detail about you, something specific. And that detail is what moved the needle. For some of you, I'm picking up physical impressions, someone older than you, not necessarily in years, but in gravity. Something about their presence that makes rooms rearrange when they enter. Silver at the temples for some of you. For others, it's dark hair, cropped clothes, meticulous. A watch that costs more than most people's rent, not for show, but because they appreciate precision in everything, including the things on their wrist, hands that have built things, eyes that evaluate without warmth or cruelty, just assessment. Pure, clinical, efficient assessment. And those eyes landed on you, and something in the assessment changed from observation to decision. Now, here's what's happening behind the scenes that you cannot see. This person has mentioned your name, not to you, to other people, people who matter. They've referenced something you did in a context where names carry weight. They've positioned you in a conversation as someone to watch. And the ripple effect of that single mention is already in motion, even though you won't feel it for weeks, maybe months. Doors that were locked are being unlocked right now by hands you've never shaken. Conversations about your future are happening in rooms you've never entered. Decisions that will alter the trajectory of your next 2 to 3 years are being made by people whose faces you might not even recognize. And all of it traces back to one person putting your name at the top of their list and backing it with their reputation. I need you to understand how rare this is. Most people spend their entire careers begging for a fraction of this kind of positioning. They network, they schmooze, they curate their image. They spend more energy on being seen than on being excellent. And here you are, having done none of that, being positioned by someone whose endorsement carries more weight than 100 networking events. That's not luck operating. That's character compounding. Every time you chose quality over visibility, every time you did the right thing when nobody was watching, every time you delivered without demanding recognition, it was all being recorded. Not on paper, in reputation, In the quiet assessment of someone who was paying attention to things that don't show up on a resume but determine everything about whether a person can actually be trusted with real responsibility. And this person doesn't do that lightly. I need you to understand the weight of what I'm saying. Someone with real power attached their name to yours. That is not a casual move. In their world, every endorsement is a bet. Every recommendation is a piece of their credibility placed on the table. And they chose you, not the loudest person, not the most connected person, not the person who campaigned for the position or networked their way into visibility. You, the one who was just doing the work quietly, consistently, without asking for recognition. That's what made you safe to bet on. Because powerful people don't gamble on performers. Performers are unpredictable. They gamble on character. And your character has been speaking a language they understand long before you ever opened your mouth. I keep getting the number 8 pulsing through this reading. 8 is abundance, material manifestation, the physical world catching up to spiritual alignment. It means money is about to move differently in your life, not vaguely, specifically. A new income stream, a raise or promotion that comes with a number attached to it that makes you sit back in your chair, an opportunity that converts the invisible work you've been doing into visible compensation. And the timeline on this is short. I keep getting the sense that by the end of this current season, your financial landscape will look fundamentally different from where it is right now. Not a little different, structurally different. The kind of shift where you look at your bank account and the number doesn't trigger anxiety for the first time in longer than you can remember, where you book the flight instead of checking prices for 3 weeks, where you replace the thing that's broken instead of figuring out how to live without it. That's the level of shift I'm seeing. Not because you got lucky, because someone with power recognized what you're worth and decided to make sure the world pays accordingly. If this is hitting you, I need you to drop the words top of the list in the comments, like this video and subscribe, because what happens in this community is different from anything else on this platform, and I need your energy in here. Now, let me talk about the romantic dimension of this, because it is absolutely present, and I'd be lying if I ignored it. There is someone in your energy, possibly this same powerful person, possibly someone connected to this season of elevation who is experiencing a pull toward you that goes beyond professional admiration. Something about your competence is doing something to them that they did not anticipate and cannot control. They are used to being attracted to obvious things: beauty, status, charm, presentation. And then you walked in and attraction hit them from a direction they weren't guarding. It came through your hands. The way you handle things with quiet authority, through your focus. The way you lock onto a task and the rest of the room ceases to exist, through your composure. The way you stay steady when everything around you accelerates. They've never been attracted to steadiness before. They've always been drawn to intensity, to drama, to the spark. And then you showed them that steadiness is its own kind of fire, a slower burn, a deeper heat, the kind that doesn't flare and die but sustains and builds until everything it touches is permanently warm. They imagine things about you, not the obvious things, the strange, specific, revealing things. They imagine asking you a question and watching you think before you answer, not the fast answer, the real one, the one that takes a few seconds because you're actually considering it instead of performing intelligence. They imagine sitting across from you while you explain something you genuinely care about, watching your hands move, watching your eyes change, watching the mask of competence drop just slightly to reveal the passion underneath. They imagine earning your respect, not your attraction, your respect, because they've learned that your respect is the harder currency and they want to be wealthy in it. They imagine a dinner late, a place that's mostly empty. You across a table with a glass of something in your hand, and the conversation has gone past professional, past polite, into the territory where real things are said. The kind of conversation where someone accidentally reveals something they've never told anyone and then goes still waiting to see if the other person flinches. They imagine being the one who reveals, and they imagine you not flinching, just listening, just holding the moment with that impossible steadiness you carry, and them realizing in that silence that they've never trusted anyone this quickly and they're not even scared of it. They're relieved. They also imagine smaller moments that reveal how deep this has gone. You reaching for something at the same time they do, your fingers brushing and neither of you pulling away. You saying their name in a tone they've never heard anyone else use. Not their title, not their professional identity, their actual name, spoken by someone who sees them as a person first and a position second. That distinction, being seen as human by someone whose respect they crave, is intoxicating to them. They're surrounded by people who want things from them, access, approval, resources, and you don't want anything from them. You weren't even trying to be noticed. And that absence of agenda is the most attractive thing they've encountered in years, because it means if you ever do choose them, it will be for them, not the power, not the access, not the doors they can open, them, the person underneath the title. And powerful people almost never get chosen for who they are underneath. That possibility being wanted for what's behind the armor keeps them up at night in a way no business deal ever has. For some of you, I'm also getting Pisces or Taurus energy around the romantic element, earth and water, someone who looks powerful on the surface but carries a deep tenderness they show almost nobody, someone whose public persona is armor and whose private persona is almost unbearably gentle, and they want to show you the private one, you specifically, because something about the way you move through the world tells them you'd handle it with care. The jealousy, yes, it's here. This person notices who else receives your energy and they measure it, not with insecurity, with strategic awareness. They note who makes you laugh, who gets the relaxed version, who you lean toward in a group. And when someone else receives something from you that they want your full attention, your genuine amusement, your unguarded warmth, something tightens in them that has nothing to do with romance and everything to do with value. They know what you're worth, probably better than you do. And watching other people receive your gifts without recognizing their rarity feels like watching someone use a masterwork painting as a placemat. It offends their sensibility, not their ego, their taste. And their taste in all things is exacting. The number 3 keeps appearing. 3 is creative expansion and divine timing. It means this entire sequence, the noticing, the positioning, the doors opening, is not random. It's orchestrated at a level above human strategy. You were placed in that person's line of sight at exactly the right moment. Not earlier, when you weren't ready. Not later, when the window would have closed. Now, when the preparation meets the opportunity, and the result is something that looks like luck to everyone watching, but feels like destiny to the 2 people involved. Now let me bring this home, because I need to say something to the part of you that is already dismissing this. You're sitting there thinking, this isn't for me. Powerful people don't notice me. I'm not the one who gets chosen for things like this. I'm the one who does the work and someone else gets the credit. I'm the one who builds the foundation and someone else gets to live in the house. That narrative has been running your life and it ends here. It ends now because someone saw the builder. Someone recognized that the foundation is the most valuable part. And they are coming to you not with charity, not with pity, not with a consolation prize, with exactly what you've earned, measured, weighed, calculated to the gram, And I need to say something about the specific way you've been undervaluing yourself because it's coming through so clearly in this reading. You have a habit, a deeply ingrained, probably childhood rooted habit of assuming that the people who get chosen are fundamentally different from you, more talented, more connected, more inherently worthy of good things. And you've used that belief to preemptively disqualify yourself from opportunities you absolutely deserved. You didn't apply because you assumed they wanted someone with more experience. You didn't speak up because you assumed someone smarter was about to say it better. You didn't reach for the thing because you convinced yourself that reaching was the same as being entitled and you would rather go without than be seen as someone who thinks too highly of themselves. That protective smallness has cost you years, and the person who moved your name to the top of their list just bypassed every barrier you built against your own elevation. What's coming for you is proportional to what you've poured out, and the universe does not round down. I'm getting the number 11, flashing, alignment, awakening. The moment where the invisible becomes visible and the person who worked in the dark steps into a light they didn't install but absolutely deserve, that's your moment. It's not approaching. It's here. The person who moved your name to the top of their list already made the call. What happens next is just the world catching up to a decision that was made about you before you knew you were being considered. You were never overlooked. You were being observed. And the observation is over. What comes next is the offer. Okay, I need you to go receive this now. Stop overthinking it. Stop talking yourself out of it. This is coming for you and you deserve it, period. If this hit, like this video right now, share it with your person, subscribe because I am literally always in here dropping something, and comment below because I read every single one and I want to know who this is about. Okay, go. I love you. Bye.